Hey, it's been another minute. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been gone for like over a week. I had a little mental health crisis. Not ashamed to admit it. Some of us have things we have to deal with, but I am back and I know I am late. But I have to finish this. Bel-Air been off for about close to a month, but I have to finish this review recap discussion. Okay, so this is episode 7. We are down to just one more episode left of the final season of Bel-Air. So there's a lot going on in this episode. I'm not going to go into any particular order. So in this episode, when it first comes on, we find out what Will and what Carlton picked as their choices for school and what they got um, approved to go to. So Will is going to UPenn. He's going back home to Pennsylvania. And Carlton is going to Morehouse down in Atlanta. And so they switched because, Carlton was going to go to the prestigious Ivy League and Will was going to go to probably like a state school or HBU. So it got switched. So I think the options that they chose were great. I look forward to, even though I know the show's over, but I guess in my mind, what it would be like for them when they both. Listen, I still think they could have gave us a few more seasons, at least as many as the Fresh Prince of Bel Air had, because the Fresh Prince of Bel Air had 6 seasons. They could have gave us 2 more seasons, but that's just me, okay? So Aunt Viv in this episode, she is in her third trimester and she is struggling with not having her mother present because her mother was there when she gave birth to her other 3 children. Her mother's deceased now. And you never get too old to need your mom. I mean, she's like, I'm thinking Vivian is like 40 something, early 40s. I think they got married pretty young. And listen, I'm in my 30s, and if I'm having a hard time in life, the first person I'm going to call is my mom. I'm either going to call or text her, depending on what's going on. But you never get too old to need your mom. So, and Viv was kind of questioning herself, like, is this normal for me to be this old and still need my mom? But yes, it is normal. So speaking of Viv, OG Aunt Vivian, the first one, not Daphne Maxwell Reed, but the first one, stars in this episode as a midwife for this Bel-Air Vivian. And it was great seeing her again. I'm so glad that, because, her and Will had a thing. I don't know if it was more so on her end, the grudge part, but they had a thing for years and they finally reconciled in the last few years. So it was great to see her on the show playing this role. Of course, I feel like she played it beautifully because when she was Aunt Viv on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, what I loved about her character is she was tough, no nonsense, but she was extremely classy. And so even though in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air she was wearing this 2 pieces, the suits, here she's more bohemian, this character, but she still carries that class and that grace. It's just like she did in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So she helps Vivian deliver her baby. She ends up not actually being able to make it to the birthing center. She has the baby at home, and Vivian's stressing. She's like, I need my mom. I can't do this. I can't do this. And then, boom, her mother's spirit guides her and tells her, yes, you can. I'm here. I got this. And boom, here we go. So, when they did the gender reveal, it was a boy. It was a blue cake. Well, surprise, it's actually a girl. We find out actually when Aunt Viv has the baby that there was a cake mix up. So it's a girl and they named her Nicolette. And of course, she's going by Baby Nikki because, you know, sometimes I forget that Nikki, like when I think of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I think of Carlton, Ashley, Hillary. Nikki barely comes into my mind. I don't know why that is, but he just doesn't. So I thought that was cute that they had Nikki be a girl, because the whole point of a reimagining is you don't want to copy every single thing from the first season. So I mean, not the first season from the original show, but I like the Easter eggs that they dropped in this show. I thoroughly enjoyed that, like I stated on my last video. And I do like that they kept some of the same things, but they changed some things as well. So Bel Air is its own show, but it pays tribute to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, its predecessor. Um, so they got this stupid thing with the senior lock-in where your crush can get you alone and y'all go off somewhere and you test your relationship. So of course, in true Will and Lisa fashion with the drama, Will's crush. Now this girl popped up out of nowhere. We ain't seen this girl. At least I have. Y'all let me know if she was in a prior season. But she pops up. She's supposed to be so into Will the whole time he came to Bel-Air Academy. So she gets him. They go off somewhere. Lisa, her crush gets her. They go off somewhere. Now the last scene that we see with Will and Homegirl is she's sitting in his lap. She got her bra, her boobies in his face. And so he made it seem like they did something, but they didn't. That's the part I didn't understand. He didn't tell Lisa, hey, I didn't do nothing with that girl. They just both left the little whatever nooks and crannies and was like mad at each other because they both thought the other one cheated. Like that's stupid to me. I don't know why people participate in that kind of stuff. I, for one, never believed in peer pressure. So we didn't have nothing like that at my school, and I wouldn't do it. So they're trying to get Jeffrey still, right? So Uncle Phil is down getting mic'd up, ready to go undercover when he runs into Jeffrey. He actually didn't know that Jeffrey was on his way down to the station to, I guess, volunteer to be undercover. So Jeffrey ends up getting mic'd up and he's having dinner with Dominique in that same, they have that dinner in that same restaurant. Seemed like to me, if you were this big time, like, crime syndicate, I hope I'm using that word correctly, why would y'all keep having dinner and lunch and brunch at this same restaurant? Don't y'all want to switch it up? Anyway, he's real eager to get into the operation. And so Dom kind of senses his urgency. And she's like, well, look, she gave him this USB drive, which that's stupid. Why would you give all the information on something that's tangible that can be easily traced? But she makes him undress his shirt. And when I was first watching this, the first time, I was like, okay, what's going to happen? But he undid his shirt and he wasn't wired. But when he went to the car, he got on a walkie-talkie and let him know, look, I got the USB drive. Everything's roses, woo woo. So I'm glad that Jeffrey probably had enough sense to know that, Dominique's not new to this. I don't need to go in there with a wire. Okay. So I'm glad that they did the backup of him having a walkie-talkie getting into the car. Ooh, ooh. So Amira and Carlton, I actually liked them together with their dysfunctional selves. They're just vibing, talking about, they're both going to be going to school in Georgia, not too far from each other. I want to say Amira's going to, is she going to Spelman? I think she's going to Spelman. So they're going to school next to each other. And so Amira, she's into like the, I don't want to call it new age because is it really new age? But anyway, she does this little reading and it's all this stuff keeps coming up like, twin flames and all this. Next thing we know, they're at the altar about to say, I do. You know, it's not common for young people like fresh out of high school to get married like it was 50, 60 years ago. It was very common for somebody 16, 17 to be married. You don't see that nearly as much now. Maybe in a small country town, but not even there. I don't think you see that as much. But I still thought it was sweet. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's a shotgun wedding. She's not pregnant. They're young. If it doesn't work out, they can just end it. I mean, I know some people feel like it shouldn't be that easily to do, but I thought it was cute, whatever, but they actually didn't get married because right when they were about to say I do, Carlton got the ring that Viv was going into labor, and Amir was like, oh my God, is that a sign? And then they ran off into the sunset to go to the house. So everybody's coming to the house for baby Nikki on her way. Like I said, I'm not doing these notes in any particular order. So Jazz shows up, and Jazz and Hillary finally have, just talk. They have a heart to heart. Jazz is still fine as hell. I just have to throw that in there every time because it's true. And Ashley was saying, because what's his name? Jazz is getting into the marijuana business, cannabis business, and Hillary's opening up, I think it was a cafe or restaurant, and Ashley was like, y'all should team up and like, mesh it together. So that's what they were talking about. So one of the most satisfying scenes of this episode was Dominique going down. They finally took her down. Jeffrey gets to stay free. He gets to um, live his life. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder anymore. So I'm happy about that. Also in this episode, before they had the senior lockdown, Will and Lisa were questioning if they wanted to stay together. I'm gonna say this, and I know most people that watch my channel are older, probably in my age group. But if there's anybody that's like a teenager watching this part right here, and you have a high school sweetheart or you're all in love, I'm going to say this. It's not impossible, but it is rare that people meet the love of their life in high school and they stay together forever and everything is roses forever. Most of the time, like when you go off to college, you are going to be, it's totally different ball game than high school. For one, you're on your own. You're staying in a dorm most likely, unless you're close to home. You're still staying at home, but you're going to be around different people. It's not like high school where everybody that goes there is from that city or moved to that city. When you go to college, you're going to literally have people there from all over. It's not just going to be like, if you're in Florida, it's not just going to be Floridians going to that school. You're going to have people from New York, Cali, Texas, Rhode Island, New Mexico. Like, you're going to meet so many different people. Don't pin yourself down in a relationship so young. So I'm going to leave that like that. Okay. To any young people watching. Shout out to my 182 subscribers. Shout out to the rest of you as well who are not subscribed, but you can by hitting that button for me. I am going to definitely be back on here more often. Like I said, sometimes I have a little issue and I have to take a break. But thank you for sticking in there with me. Peace and blessings to every last one of you watching. Until next time.